So, welcome to day two of the Holistic Health and Weight Loss Docuseries, Real Strategies for Real Heroes. My name is Pamela Pedrick, and I'm the creator and the host of the docuseries. And today we're going to have some of the speakers and some of the gift contributors as well be on a live Q&A session. So, if you have any questions, post them in the chat or raise your hand. So we do have Laura here today. We have a couple more who might be joining shortly. So today's, just to remind you, there will be an email sent out at 8 a.m. Eastern Time with the link for that day's content. Each day is open for only 48 hours. So day one is still open if you have not had a chance to watch the presentations or grab the gifts. That will close tomorrow at 7:59 a.m. Eastern Time. And today's session will be open until Thursday, 7:59 a.m. Eastern Time as well. I have not for those of you who have asked, I've not posted the Q&A from yesterday into the Facebook group. I had some tech issues, so hopefully the tech gremlins are gone and I can get that uploaded for you, for those of you who did not see yesterday's live Q&A. And also for those who did upgrade your ticket and purchase the Body Breakthrough Pack, that all the Q&A sessions will be uploaded by the end of the week for you guys. So once again, welcome to day two. And then also 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I kind of have a recap with the link for that day's content as well, in case you're busy working, maybe your shift work, so that you won't miss anything. So my name is Pamela Patrick once again, and busy women come to me when they are ready to ditch the constant yo-yo dieting, the weight regain, and they want natural holistic systems and strategies that work for their own unique bodies, personalized, customized for them. And when they come to me, we work together. We get their bodies to be fat burning machines. They get fit, light, and free. And so my session today was all about rest today. So each day is a certain theme. So today's theme is balanced hormones, better life. And so for today, we have Laura, we have Dr. Naya. Did I do it correctly this time? Perfect. We have Jenny, we have Faye, we have Christina. So I'm going to start with Faye. By the way, if you have any questions, post them in the comments. For any of you contributors and speakers who weren't on yesterday, if you can answer the question audibly and not in the chat, because the replay is going to be up and we just can't read the chat answers with that. So I'm going to start with Faye. Just a brief introduction about yourself, who you are, what you do. And so Faye's session is today. Her title is Stressed, Sleepless, and Stuck, the hormone equation no one's talking about. So welcome, Faye.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Fab. Okay, cool. Yeah, my name is Faye and I run a business in the UK, but we've got clients everywhere. And we specifically work with women in perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause. We talk all things hormones. We work with a lot of women that have got high stress levels, nurses, like night shift workers, a lot of frontline workers as well, and a lot of carers as well. So we see the same kind of patterns across the board, really. So yeah, I'm excited that my session's today.
Yes. And what was your gift? What's your gift that you're giving everyone?
The gift is the cortisol guide, basically, for frontline workers. So it breaks down what it is, how it affects you, and how you can, if you do work night shifts, how you can help your circadian rhythm, help your body clock get back into sync.
And that's great because I used to work night shift, and then I went to days. It took me 3 months for my body to acclimate back to days. It was quite interesting. I
Takes
was
a while.
exhausted.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
great because we need shift workers. We need mid shift. We need night shift workers as well. So that's an amazing gift that you're giving. Thank you so much for sharing. By the way, if you have any questions,
No
please
problem.
post them in the chat below. And we're going to go to Laura. Laura is a gift contributor. So Laura, tell us who you are, what you do, and we'll go over your gift. We're not hearing you. Change mic. It's fine.
There we go. What about now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
Um, so my name's Laura, and I help people quit unwanted habits, I specialize in body focused repetitive behaviors such as hair pulling, skin picking, nail biting. But the strategies that I use to help clients applies to any unwanted habit, any habit that you're saying, why can't I stop doing this? I help people get to the bottom of it, get to the underlying causes of why you keep getting pulled back into this habit so that you can release it without willpower or shame. And the gift that I contributed was a document called Five Unexpected Ways to Hack Your Habit, which has some reflection prompts for you to really change your relationship with your unwanted habit. Because when you can change your relationship with the habit, that's when things really start to move.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, and then yesterday we had Jenny, we had Dr. Naya yesterday as well, and we had Christina. So, since you guys already introduced yourself, we're just going to go right into the questions. So, I'm curious for anyone who wants to answer, what was the turning point for you? Dr. Anaya, you had an amazing, story yesterday for this journey of more of a holistic way of living, with this. What was the turning point for you? I'm just curious for any of it. Go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah, for me, I went through my own burnout journey, but I, as I was trying to figure out like what to do, I knew that I couldn't go on the way that I was going on. And I had really become exhausted in work that I used to love. And, I didn't even really know exactly what burnout was. But then when I looked and saw all of that, I was like, oh, I've kind of checked all those boxes. And so that sent me on a journey to figure out the best way to get out of that for myself. And then my mom passed away a year after that, suddenly. And she was also a nurse. And she was also one of those people who put everybody else's needs ahead of her own. And I really believe that, despite she did have some chronic conditions, but I also, I attribute a lot of those to a lack of self care as well. And so that's something, my own journey coupled with her early death really have made me passionate about working with other nurses and caregivers and women in particular who just really give and give and give and don't take time to consider their own needs. They think that they'll get around to it later or that maybe it's selfish. And so helping them figure out that, like you can put your own needs on the plate. It doesn't mean that you are neglecting everybody else. As a matter of fact, it's the only way that you can continue to care for those people that are, that are counting on you. And so the one of the big things that I hear from a lot of people is, well, I can't take, I don't have time for myself because I've got, I'm raising my kids or my grandkids or I'm taking care of mom or whatever. And, that's all the more reason to really make sure that your own needs are being met because you do have people counting on you. And so that was kind of my big pivotal moment was just when mom died. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm curious, because you are working, specifically with nurses in the self care arena. Are you seeing more burnout among healthcare providers? I'm curious.
Yes. Um, and I see that, in some studies, it looks like the numbers are going down a little bit. And there's that fluctuation, of course, um, but yeah, and a lot of it is that so many people just feel like they can't say no. And I know yesterday we talked a bit about boundaries and, and what that looks like and being able to have those in place. And that was something I know me personally. I mean, I felt like and I mean, honestly, there's a part of me that still does when there's, hey, so and so called off, or we have this extra admission that needs done, or whatever. It's like, well, somebody's got to do it, and
Been
that's
there,
true,
been there, done
right?
that.
That's true. Somebody does have to do it, but I also, I have when I'm able to help out in a way that aligns with my life and my needs, then absolutely. I'm not saying, don't be a team player, um, but I have to come first and my family has to come first. And that's something that was really hard for me to understand. And that's definitely one of the challenges and the people that I work with for sure.
Yeah, especially with this audience, per se, it could even be just, caregivers, teachers. It's like, you want to, I never wanted to call off, even if I had a migraine, technically wouldn't function that well because I know what it felt like to be short staffed. And then,
Absolutely.
then you get a mass casualty coming in and you're even, yeah, so I can fully understand that. So, and I love what you're doing with self-care in that. Can you just speak to when we do take the time, and it doesn't need to be a whole lot of time, what that does to our body per se when we do take the time for self-care?
Absolutely. So yeah, that's another one of the misconceptions is that it has to be this, big, elaborate, self-care practice. And it's as simple as, taking a few deep breaths. And I encourage my clients, hey, if you're working or if you've got kids that are chasing you around, take an extra minute in the bathroom. And I know sometimes you don't get a minute by yourself in the bathroom,
We're
but
all in.
exactly. But when you're in your car, when you're getting ready to leave work or come in or leave work or leave for work, then taking an extra minute or two to just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and those things just help to really settle and reset our nervous system. And it's so simple and it's so easy that it's very easy to discount.
Yeah, or
And
forget. You forget to do it.
right. Right. And so, trying to have specific times when you're doing things like that. Or getting up and moving around a little bit, if you're going into the kitchen or if you're at work and you're going into a particular place, maybe take the long way there. Just those little things that you can fit easily into your day. And then as you get used to those, then add another one or two. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. I know I can be that way myself. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this. And I have this big list of things that I'm going to do. And I do it for a day or two and I feel really on top of things. And then life happens and it all goes out the window. But just getting those few simple practices, that maybe doing some gratitude, journaling, or if you feel like you don't have time for that, just thinking about three things that you're grateful for, three things that went well today. And doing those little things can slowly shift your mind to looking for the good instead of the bad. Because you know what? There's plenty of bad out there and it's going to find us. But when we start looking for the good things, then that can really change things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for sharing. By the way, any speakers who want to chime in as we're all talking, that's totally cool as well. So, Dr. Naya, what was your turning point? You had a big one.
Yeah, it was a big one. Yes, mine was actually cancer that was dependent on hormones. So my hormonal level were, like on a roller coaster, like this, jung, 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 jung. And I more than agree with everything what you said, what Jenny said, what Faye said. Also yesterday, so lifestyle, some daily things that you are doing. So this is really, really very important. And from my own and from perspective of my clients, I don't have so many clients from your audience, but I have the similar clients that are business owners. So they are also overdoing. They usually don't take. Yeah, they usually don't take so much care of themselves. Today, I spoke with one of them, and he said, I come to you only when something is wrong with me. Otherwise, I don't have time. And if I go to somebody and she or he gives me a bunch of exercises that I need to do, that I need to go to the to take a walk or what food I need, I get just more stressed than I would be. So from my practice, I figured out that bottom line of everything are emotions. But these are not just emotions, like our emotions. Of course, emotions are imprinted in our bodies. So we need to um, somehow work on this to liberate them from our body, because this could be imprinted already, not just from our childhood, but also from our parents, or even because I'm very connected with spiritual world, even with our past lives. So what we brought to this life. So when I'm working with my clients, we mostly work with emotions. Why you are doing this as you are doing, but not asking them directly why. If somebody knows how to answer this, they don't need me. But we are digging into deep layers of the person, of personality, of spiritual layers inside. What is inside? What is causing that I'm giving too much? That I'm deciding to not to take time for myself. Jenny said, yes, I'm doing 2, 3, 4 days good, and then life happens. That's always behind what I found in my practice. It's always some original survival coding. So this one that is causing, that was completely with me. I was totally focused, I'm in this area of working with people already almost 40 years, and I have many experiences regarding this. So in my own experience is that I was giving really too much. And what was behind that, when I'm getting attention only if I'm giving. But when I learned, so when I started to learn that attention is not coming from outside in, but from myself out, and when I recalibrated my nervous system, liberated my lymphatic system, and relaxed my fascia, then I started actually to take care better of myself finally. So that was also the path of me to overgrowing cancer. Yeah, that was my path, and also path of many of my clients. So they come and we are searching, digging inside why, searching the answer for why. This could be on a spiritual level, energy level, mind level, energy level, or body level. So whatever level this can be stored, this primer survival coding.
Yes, absolutely. And then survival coding is so, oh my goodness. Because I'm completely relate to that, because I a couple years ago added that final layer of the whole unconscious mind, like survival, you know, instead of, versus thriving. And what a difference, when you get, like you said, finding out the why, what's going on behind the scenes. Thank you for sharing. Christina, your hand's raised.
Yes. So, very similarly, I know I shared yesterday, I had been in the traditional healthcare space as a PT, working with geriatrics and an inpatient, and, kind of health focused, got off track with my own dieting as a child of the 80s. But really, what was a turning point for me from coming from focus on just diet and exercise and weight loss, was my sister's diagnosis of cancer. So my sister was diagnosed in 2017 with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. She's my only sibling. She is my best friend. I call her my pseudo twin. You can barely tell us apart. And she got diagnosed with cancer. And it was a time in my life where I wanted to quit everything. I wanted to, like many people, when life gets stressful, right? I wanted to quit my physical therapy job. I wanted to quit teaching at the gym. I wanted to quit health coaching women, and I wanted to quit parenting. Like, I wanted to just drop my life and be there for her. And because it was very treat now or don't live. And so that was a really challenging time. I stopped sleeping. I became pretty much an insomniac. I just couldn't shut my mind off because, again, I had 3 little ones, age 5 and under. I was working full time, and I recognized that that was not a good situation for me, because if I wanted to be there for her, I actually couldn't quit taking care of myself. And I also couldn't continue to I like to say run myself into the ground, but I was, working full time, teaching group fitness, working out myself in the mornings before work, getting up early. And that was when I first noticed the impact of stress response in my body. And it's when I also realized that what I was tempted to lean out of is everything that I needed to stay well, right? So it just gave me a new perspective on my health habits, that it wasn't just about, looking good and losing baby weight and that kind of stuff, but it was more like I need to be here for the people that I care about and want to help survive and support. And I also still need to be a mom, right? So it gave me a newfound reason to take care of myself and in a new way. And actually, it was at that point that I first hired my own holistic health coach. And she's the one that helped me, like, but what are you doing for stress management? But what are you doing to slow down? And I was like, there's no time for that, right? Nothing. Like, I just wanted to eat well and exercise, and that so be it. So when I started bringing those practices into my life, some self-care, stress management, nervous system regulation, it made me a better person for the situation I was in, and it helped me survive, because I knew that on the other side of my sister's illness was life, regardless of, whether she made it or not, which thank God she did. And then it didn't kind of go away because she got re-diagnosed. It came back. I went through the process again. And all the while, it became very apparent to me why she had gotten cancer, not once, but twice, because she herself was in a very toxic relationship with her spouse. And she needed that the second time to learn to leave, because, like often people who are going through cancer, stress, is the trigger, I think, to make certain things go rogue in our body. So it became very much also helping her navigate through this in a way that was recognizing that she needed to get into a healthy space, like living space surrounded by health, people, a healthy relationship, et cetera. So that was just a major turning point for me. And it's again and again proven important. My father was diagnosed with cancer in 2020. I am the last woman standing, knock on wood, in my family without it. So it's imperative to me to look at health and wellness through a holistic lens, because I have seen not only in my patients when I was working in traditional healthcare, but in my own clients now at this age, because many, mid 30s, 40s, 50s-year-old women, we are in that sandwich generation. We're caring for our kids, we're caring for our parents, we're trying to work, we've got all of these stressors. And so that is kind of what prompted me to shift my gears in my own journey, but also in the way I help women, because it is at this phase of life, like I think stress is at the max. And of course, that's why women aren't seeing results from traditional diets, but they're also not making that connection with the ability to basically withstand life at this age and how important it is. If you
Or
truly
they're
want
being
to be healthy, it's
told,
beyond the
yeah,
physical.
or they're being told by their doctor you need to manage your stress better, but they never
Mhm.
said, never
Well,
tell us
that's
how.
everything, right? All of the information. I always say, I'm like, we don't have
And then you're
implementation.
like, well, how do I do this?
Right.
My
And
busy
that's with
day.
all
What
of
does
the
it look like?
information. Yep. I always say we don't have information problems these days. We have implementation problems. And that's where coaching really comes in, because how many women we all know come to you, I know I should be eating more protein, or I know I should be, getting more steps, or I know I should be, I'm like, that's great. It's not your fault, because it's how do I do that amongst real life and the craziness of
Yes.
life? And that to me is where coaching comes in, real, true coaching. It's not hand you a meal plan or hand you a,
Yeah.
macro counter, calorie counter, prescription to get more sleep, right? It's about actually how do I do that in the
In
craziness
my
of life?
in the midst of my own life. Yeah.
Right. Because if you knew how to
You
do that,
mentioned
you'd be
something,
doing it.
about when you were in that survival mode, you let go of what
Mhm.
would keep you on track as far as your health. That
Mhm.
is so true. And Dr. Naya, you spoke to that with the survival, as well. Going back to kind of that root cause is what you're kind of speaking to. Your body's in survival mode, and it's very easy to let go of things that because we're back in survival mode. So we go back to what really
Yeah.
is not serving us.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so many women perceive that they don't have the time for these health habits now. But when you do take care of your health, you actually open up the capacity to have more resources to handle everything that's going on in your life. So instead of kind of taking away, it actually opens up your ability to handle everything that's getting thrown at you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting because I think have all of us here been hit either not if not personally ourselves, family member with cancer? Yeah, yeah. Just curious. That, yep. And Laura, you have your hands up.
Yeah, so my story really does echo a lot of what everybody else has said here about that, really taking care of yourself. So I'm a physician assistant in psychiatry, and I have also struggled with hair pulling or trichotillomania. And when I went into psychiatry, I thought, well, this is great because I can figure out how to manage this myself as well as help my patients. And so I, took all the courses and learned from the experts and all of that. And I was even in a group of professionals who both work in mental health as well as have body focused repetitive behaviors themselves. And we were all talking, and this theme kept coming up about everybody is struggling to manage their own body focused repetitive behavior and help others. And this idea of, well, if I can't get it managed myself, then, what place do I have to tell other people, even though I have this training? And I realized we have to be missing something. If all the people, there aren't that many people out there who treat this. And if all the people who have the additional training to treat this are still struggling to, as you said, Christina, implement it, right? Um, like, what are we missing here? And so I started asking myself hard questions and, really looking at what was bringing me back to this. And I realized that underneath it all, for myself and everybody else, is dysregulation, that we become dysregulated and then we rely on these behaviors, whether it is hair pulling or skin picking or nail biting or alcohol use or, scrolling through our phones. All of it is that we are overwhelmed and dysregulated, and these behaviors help us get back to regulation, but it only helps in the short term and it has such a high cost in the long term. And so, what I have found most helpful for me as well as my clients is getting underneath of it and figuring out, why am I dysregulated? How do I start taking care of myself, as everyone else said? How do I start decreasing my stressors? How do I really amp up my strategies, my regulation strategies, whether that's practicing meditation or going for a walk outside or whatever it is? But how do I bring in more of that stuff that's going to help me feel strong from a really core sense and not just like a band-aid on it, like scrolling and tuning out for a while? And how do I really nourish myself so that I don't need to rely on these behaviors that have such high consequences in the long term?
You bring a valid point, the Band-Aid method, because there's a lot of things out there, even in traditional medicine, where it's like we're just putting a Band-Aid to treat the symptom and not getting to the underlying cause of what's driving all of this as well. And so, which is why I bring together this docuseries. Let's get to the root cause of what's going on, whether it was health, whether it's weight, whether it's hormones, or all of the above. And Dr. Nadia spoke so eloquently on, mind, body, soul, spiritual, and I truly believe for a whole woman framework, we do need to address all of those areas for health and wellness. And I work specifically with weight, but actually we run a health journey with my clients as well. And so, Manette, I'm postmenopausal, hormones are balanced, blood tests are all normal, carnivore, no junk, processed foods, daily supplements, no sugar, honey, moderate exercise, and I still cannot, I'm going to say, release the visceral fat around midsection only. What am I missing? Great question. So basically what you're saying is you're doing all the things. I think she popped out. I don't think, oh, yes, I see it. You're doing all the things, but there's still, Dr. Naya?
Yes, thank you. What I see actually in especially women who are in menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, so that this condition, it's not condition, everything is natural, but we are moving more towards the life era where we need to turn more into inwards, not much to outwards. So I see the biggest problems I see with women when they don't take care enough for their inner world, not exercising. These are not, as lady said, eating good and doing exercises. And this is everything from outside, but from inside. And so menopause is connected with liver and is connected with thyroid gland. Although all medical tests might be okay, but on an energy level and on spiritual level, something is off. So we need to research what is going on these two layers. For example, a lady who has these hot flashes usually builds on inside to mostly towards herself a lot of anger, and this anger is usually unrecognized. But when we start to unlayer all this upper layers, we come inside and we see what is there. And also with fat around the midsection, usually thyroid gland energy of thyroid gland. That means that person usually doesn't differentiate what is me and what is not me, what is mine, what is not mine, and takes things from outside us theirs own. So what I suggest actually to really calm down, and instead of too much outer practices, meditate and go to insight what is going on. And journaling, maybe for me, journaling, for example, doesn't work. It works meditating, because when my mind really calms down, and when I don't think anything, then I can see the patterns. So it's the same like on a flat surface of the lake, you are able to see the shine of the stars. So this works for me.
So more information. I'm 65, had hysterectomy in 40s, no symptoms at all. Is that your thyroid and energy level is great? What was that? Okay, great is normal. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Naya and Christina.
Yeah, my response would be a little bit more from the actual tangible standpoint. So my first question is always, are your hormones and labs normal by Western medicine standards or functional medicine standards, is usually my first question, because those are a little bit different. And what can look normal by Western medicine standards is not optimal. So functional medicine is looking at optimal ranges. Where do you actually feel your best?
That she says
Right?
functional
And
standards. Labs are
functional standards. Okay. So my next thing is I personally am not a proponent of the carnivore diet, because you're very much lacking in nutrients that your thyroid is needing, right? Because thyroid is kind of the gas pedal for your metabolism. So when we need carbohydrates, right? We need some energy sources. So a very extreme diet like carnivore may be the reason why you're having a challenging time as well, because we're missing important fibers. I think the world is very concerned with macronutrients, right? Proteins and fats and carbs, but no one's talking enough about the micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the things that our body actually needs for every enzymatic function in our body, including fat loss, right? Our body needs a sense of safety. We need carbohydrate. We need certain, again, different like nutrients for our thyroid. So I would be more inclined to say that maybe if we are acknowledging that the current approach isn't working, to be open to maybe exploring some different approaches. I also, from my own experience, and many women, when we are very type A achievers, right? There's a certain health hypervigilance that we can get to where we've got to do everything perfectly. And honestly, the stress of that can also be impeding your body from responding the way that you want when we have this health like hypervigilance, like, oh, if I have any sugar, I'm, or if I do anything other than a carnivore diet or what have you. So I would just suggest being open to seeing a different maybe nutritional approach for your body too, to see if that could potentially help. Allow your body to feel safe and have your thyroid functioning appropriately, and fat loss and all of that stuff in order to happen. Because I think that it's not uncommon. I see a lot of women who are either doing extreme fasting or something like carnivore who are missing a lot of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and just in turn overall nutrition, because that's going to allow for fat loss.
Have you had a SpectraCell done to check your intracellular nutrition, Simonette? Okay, so everything looked good there. Everything, no nutritional deficiencies. And because I see you're doing functional, so that's why I'm asking these questions. Have you had your Dutch Plus Done. And did that look good? Sorry, I got to pop up. It's in my way. No, Dutch Plus. Okay, that would be something I would recommend. Okay, Dutch Plus, because it's going to look at how you're metabolizing everything. It's going to look at your hormones, it's going to look at your 24-hour cortisol as well, just to make sure things are going where they need to go with that. I know what I know, and I don't know everything about the Dutch Plus. So your functional medicine provider, if they do that, that would be like the last layer to put on just to see how everything's going in your body. Because if your SpectraCell is good and you're getting your nutrition, another thing would be a mold exposure. Sometimes that's a last thing to kind of be addressed if you do have it. And those who have mold exposure, it could have been at any time in your life. That's one thing that makes it difficult to release, to get rid of the fat, is mold exposure, mycotoxins. Okay, good. So that'll be when that's like the next layer to see what the Dutch test shows, just to make sure with all your hormones and everything that's going on that it's metabolizing and going where it needs to go, so to speak, in your 24-hour cortisol as well. And your functional medicine provider should have that as well. A great information all around with that. And sometimes it get a little tricky if you've been working with someone, you've done all the testing and you're trying to find what is that missing layer, missing component as well. So it sounds like you're on the right track with your testing. I would just ask your provider for the Dutch Test Plus to look further into that. Thank you so much, everyone, for answering. I love this conversation. Faye, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, just a couple of things. I agree with Christina that I don't love the carnivore diet either because of the nutrients. I saw that you eat fruit though, so not technically like the carnivore diet strictly.
Still getting your carbs in.
But you're getting, yeah, still getting some nutrients in there as well. The other thing I would look at is general gut health, things like fermented foods, making sure you're eating your probiotics as well as obviously your prebiotics. And then a couple of other things like exercise.
You're a functional medicine provider, right? You're on all the supplements.
Yeah.
Got protocol.
Exercise, like what is that exercise that you're doing? Is it cardio based? Is it hip based? Is it strength training based? Is it yoga based? Like what is the exercises that you're doing? Yoga. Yeah. So like strength training is going to be a priority to definitely be looking at that. And then a bit more into like I think we missed this point, but like calories. I know we're always like calories in versus calories out, but actually that is the baseline, that is the science. And yes, it can make things more difficult, but ultimately if you're super stressed, for example, if your body isn't absorbing nutrients, so you're more tired, maybe you'll go for more snacks. And yeah, they might be healthy, I don't know, quote unquote healthy snacks, but actually if you are eating too many calories, you're not going to lose the weight. Plus with stress, even if you are eating the right amount of calories, that fat is going to go straight to your belly and is going to be very difficult to lose. So stress, sleep, calories, they're like the three things that I would really dive into as well. I know it's a little bit more basic than when we're going down the functional route. Yes, Dutch Plus is a really good option, but I think start at the easiest points and then develop downwards.
And you brought up a good point asking about what type of exercise, because with perimenopausal, postmenopausal women, we do need to add some weights, zone 2 cardio, like walking with a weighted vest or something like that we need as we get older as well, versus a lot of HIIT training or tons of cardio, because that can stress our bodies out even more as well. And then I'd also see with the Dutch test, also see what your adrenals are doing too. Because some women, their adrenals are like opposite of what they need to be, which is why it's difficult to get that going. And Dr. Naya, you have your hand up again?
Yes, we are speaking about the stress, but we didn't define what stress actually means, because usually people think that stress is coming from outside in, but it's not. It's and the stress has its inner component. So from outside, if the stress would come from outside, each person in the same situation would feel this stress, but it doesn't. So it depends on inner mindset, on inner, I would say, patterns, on identity, on values that we have. So in that regard, we treat situations from outside as a stress. And we came again to this inner component that we need to really pay a lot of attention. In our society, we're unfortunately not taught how to deal with, or not just to deal, but how to perceive what is going on inside us, how we are, what thoughts are coming on the surface, what emotions we feel, what is stuck energetically in our bodies. We are taught only a lot of mathematics, a lot of grammatics, history, and of course, for some general education, something of this is important, but not as so much as we are taught, because much more important is how we are living, how we conduct our lives in order to be joyful, peaceful, and healthy, and keep vitality until the end of our days.
Yes. Thank you so much. So I'm just going, Karen, did you have a question? I saw you commented earlier. I was trying to find it. Sorry, I just want to make sure we get some of these questions because we only have a few minutes left. Do you have a question, Karen? I'm trying to find your comment again.
She had commented about saying that dysregulation occurs with me when I try to juggle as best I can. Didn't anticipate two family members suddenly having brain-related issues, one with ongoing TBI, other with multiple strokes. In between them and an addiction patient.
Oh, her question is, how would I refocus on self when family is so dire?
Well, that is something that, and she was who I was wanting to come back to there. But I think that, the way that we can do that, especially when we have all of these things going on, is keeping it really simple, keeping it really basic. The question that I ask myself, that I have my clients start with, is, what do I need most right now? And sometimes it's something super simple. It may be, I just need like 5 minutes to myself. Maybe it's, I need a nap, I need a day off, and then figuring out, if those things, because sometimes it's, I need a vacation, and that may not be possible, but looking at, what is it that I want to get from that, and then kind of working backwards a little bit. Is there something that I can do that will help me to get that little bit of rest, that will maybe help me to get a full night's sleep, or being able to reach out to somebody, and just let me see here, I don't know if any of that's okay. No, that's about something else. Okay. And just taking the time to really check in with yourself, because it is, there's so many things going on, it sounds like, in your life. And I think you said with your addiction patient, so I assume that's something that you work in, and then you've got all of your personal life stuff too. But really being able to take the time to meet your own needs, or at least figure out like what those are, and then just small ways that you can really nurture your own spirit, if that's getting out in nature for just a few minutes every day, and doing some breathing, having a little bit of time to yourself, maybe doing some journaling, looking at how you're sleeping and your nutrition, thinking about those things that really make a difference for you personally.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are short on time, Laura. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to add to what Jenny was saying. A lot of times I help people remember that we have to put our own oxygen mask on first, right? We can't pour from an empty cup. We may desperately want to pour from an empty cup, but truly, when we pause and take care of ourselves first, that helps us show up for other people better. And when we can't take care of ourselves, then we're really just putting more and more strain on the system, whoever that is that we're interacting with, whether it's, kids or a spouse or a family member. But when we can't take time for ourselves, we just put more strain into there. So It seems counterintuitive to say, well, let me put them on hold and take care of myself, but it really does help you show up for them better.
Yeah, absolutely. And last one, Dr. Naya.
I would like to share one story of mine. I was a single mom. My daughter is now already adult. She lives alone, so I'm out up to this. But when she was really little, she was about three and a half, maybe 4, and of course I did take care of myself. So I went for some workshops or walks, or to the chat conversation with my friends. And once, because I asked my father, so my daughter's grandfather, I asked him, would you like to take care of her? And then he said once, really angry, you know what kind of mom you are. You go out, and I'm here with your daughter. If you are a good mom, you would be here with your daughter. And I said to him, okay, let's suppose that I stay at home, and just tell me what kind of mom you want for your granddaughter. One mom that is happy, healthy, vibrant, very enthusiastic, peaceful, and willing to play, patient, and on the other side, very boring, very frustrated, very angry, very drained. Which one you want? And of course, he selected this one. And I said to him, if you want to hear this mom, that means that I need to get energy first that I have to give. And since then, he was more cooperative to take care of also of my daughter. So this is, I hope this is very valuable story also for listeners.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in the conversation. It's been my pleasure to moderate. So tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time will be another live Q&A session, and then at 1 p.m. Eastern time will be my live session. So we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.